Hey guys, welcome back to my super awkward resin work. Today I'm going to be pouring a tray out of resin. I'm going to try my hardest to make it look like a geode, even if it kills me. In my last video, I received a lot of questions asking me which brand I was using. As you can see in this video, I'm using the amazing clear cast resin. I was able to get my hands on this stuff from Michael's. I'm sure really any craft store will probably have it though. I just recently switched brands. I'm trying out Counterculture DIY. I don't know if you guys have seen Artsy Madwoman here on YouTube. If not, definitely go check out her channel. It's the brand that she swears by, so I'll let you know my review on that here soon. I just poured my first project with that last night. As always, I am mixing even parts of part A and part B. It's super important that you get your mixture right, otherwise your project might not cure correctly. Here I am splitting up my resin into separate cups because this pour is actually going to have, I think, 4 different colored resins in it. I'm going to have a white glittery resin, a bronzy kind of metallic resin, a clear base with a super pretty iridescent, maybe even holographic glitter resin, and a purple with glitter that I plan on using in this piece. So they actually have opaque resin pigments in the form of liquids. I personally didn't have any yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and use my acrylic paint. When using acrylic paint to color resin, it's super important that you don't use too much, as most of them are water-based and the water actually affects the curing of the resin. Just a few drops of that acrylic paint should give you enough pigment to give you the opacity that you're looking for in your resin without oversaturating it. I absolutely love this stuff. It's Pearl Effects, I'm pretty sure. We got this from Joanne Fabrics, but again, probably any craft store will have it. It just gives it such a pretty, pearly, like bronzy, it's beautiful. I don't know how to explain it. And actually, because I was having a hard time getting my hands on purple alcohol ink, I used a blue alcohol ink and a little bit of red food coloring to color this resin. It cured completely fine. I read somewhere online that you were able to use food coloring, and what do you know, it actually worked pretty well. Alright, so now it's time for the fun stuff. I like to do mine in a diagonal pattern as opposed to horizontal or vertical. I feel like it gives more of the appearance of a natural geode as opposed to something that's more like man-made. I'm going in with my bronzy color on the outer corners, and I'm going to line that with a little bit of the white. And to keep the white thin and veiny looking, I'm actually going to go through with my popsicle stick and apply it this way instead of pouring. I find it helps control the amount that's coming out and the thickness of your line. I'm now going to follow that up with my clear-based resin with that really pretty glitter in it. The important part of a geode design is not getting too much of one color in one set area, I feel. Some people have a pattern in mind when they're pouring geodes, and other people just kind of like to wing it. I'm one of those people that likes to wing it. As you can see here, I went in with my purple after the clear. See, here I go with that winging it bullshit I was talking about. Just free-form pouring it wherever I feel like, hey, that looks like it should be purple. Also, fun fact, if you don't like where your resin's falling on your mold, as long as you get to it quick enough and wipe it up, it's not gonna stay there. It's not permanent. So that little purple dribble thing across the top, I actually just wipe that up with my gloved finger and everything's fine. I'm pretty sure it's right around now when I realized that I did not mix up enough resin. I don't know about you guys, but literally every time I try to make something, I either mix entirely too much resin so that I'm just pouring it into random molds that I hopefully have prepared before then, or I mix like a quarter of what I actually need, and so I have to mix up more halfway through. And that's exactly what happened. Also, right here is where I really use my finger to do the wipey thing. I know I said earlier in the video I did it. That was a fib, I guess. Everyone say hi to Lily, my dog, who can't manage to be quiet for a total of 20 minutes while I do this voiceover. Yay! Also, let's just not acknowledge the fact that my baby hands start dropping the cups at this point. Like, what the heck? I don't understand how I all of a sudden become incompetent halfway through a project, but here we are. The bronzy color started to get a little thickums halfway through. I maybe should have mixed up more, but I cannot bring myself to waste any. So just scoop it on in. Alright, so now it's just time to fill in that one last little spot right here, and then I'm going to let this layer sit and cure. I actually let this cure completely overnight. I'm not sure if you're supposed to do that. I read somewhere recommended like 3 to 5 hours in between pours, not necessarily a full cure time, but you know, we're all learning here. I'm just going to go through and add some white throughout the piece and give it more of that like layered natural look, the way that a geode would naturally appear. At this point, I just take one of my popsicle sticks and kind of start blending some of the harsher lines that are in the project that I'm not necessarily loving how they're looking. This is totally a personal preference, and some people really like the harsh lines in it, so you do you, boo. Whatever you like. Okay, Okay, but like just look at the depth already from that one layer pour. When the light flashes over it and you see that pretty metallic pigment shine through, like that's beautiful. And I actually don't have a heat gun yet when I filmed this video, so I used a stick lighter like what people use for a grill just to get rid of some of the air bubbles. Alright, and there we have it. The first layer has been poured. I personally like doing multiple layers when I'm trying to do like a geode or marble-esque look, so that way it has the depth and dimension that an actual one would. Alright, here we are, day 2. Some people like using the same colors in the same areas in their pours when it comes to geode pours. I personally like switching it up a little bit, so here I am using the clear base with that iridescent glitter. That's the fun in geode pours. You literally make the rules. Whatever you want to do, you do that. So here I am again with the freehand bullshit that I talked about, just doing whatever it is that I felt like doing in that time. In this layer, I decided to wait till the very end to add the white so that way the main focus would be on the more fun colors. Remember earlier when I said you use a popsicle stick so that way your lines stay thin the way you would like them to? Here's why I say that. Right about here, it gets real weird and swirly twirly, and then to fix the swirls, I had to make the line a lot thicker than I had anticipated, which kinda sucks. This right here. What is that? What is that? Nobody wants that in a geode. That's not what those look like. So like I said, I kind of had to go through and thicken up the line a little bit so that I could hide the swirly twirls that happened. Alright, at this point I have the design basically how I want it, and I am just going to fill in any empty spots for this layer. Alright, and there we have it. Layer 2 is completely poured. I let this sit overnight again, and then the next day just pour a little bit of clear over the top so that way it's the complete thickness of the molds. And here it finally is, pulled from the mold the next day. What? Isn't she beautiful? Let me know if you try one in the comments below. Thanks for watching.